we said vegan, but like for me, vegan is not the diet. It's more than that. So we said we're going to go vegan in our diet.
All right, good morning, everyone. We have a really special episode today. We have Dave Leduc, and who I've met quite a few years ago, probably like way before when we probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like a long time ago. And he's had an incredible journey. I was happy to see that he went vegan recently over the past few years. And I was like, man, I got to get this man on the podcast. It's such an incredible story. And so I want to read a few of your accomplishments because I found that really impressive.
Okay.
So you go by two names, right? King Leduc or the Nomad, because you like traveling. So you're the current undefeated Lethwei Openweight World Champion. You're the first non-Burmese. Did I say it right?
Perfect.
I want to make sure I honor probably Burmese to ever win the prestigious Lethwei Gold Belt in over 1,000 years of history, which is impressive. And you now compete in the largest Bare-Knuckle organization, the World Lethwei Championship, where you won the inaugural Cruiserweight World Title in 2019. Man, yes. Dave, thank you for jumping on the podcast, man. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. It's been, like you said, probably over 10 years, more than that. I've been with my wife for 5 years, so I think it's been a while. And it's funny, we met through a supplement company, so it was related to health. And now we meet again, and now we're both vegan.
Yeah, yeah, because none of us were vegan back then. No. And I remember when you got married to, it's Irina, right?
Irina, yeah.
Yeah, she actually had written a blog post about me because I was hitchhiking across Canada.
Okay.
And that's how I got.
She was a writer for Montreal blog, so it must have been on that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so she like reached out and she wrote a piece, and then I saw you two guys were dating. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like I know him.
Small world, yeah.
Yeah. So man, like I did some research on Lethwei, pretty intense sport. I genuinely don't think I could do it justice in how I would explain it. So do you mind kind of sharing with people like what that is?
Of course. So for people that don't know, Lethwei is the traditional sport of the combat art of Myanmar. And people don't even know Myanmar, most of the people, because it was in the shadow for over, I think, 60 years plus in a military dictatorship. So it was in the shadow of the world. But there's 55 million people there, compared to our hometown in Canada. Home country, it's 35 million. So Myanmar it's a massive country with it's not even close to the size of Canada. So it's like it's buzzing of people, and it's rich in culture. And they have the art of Lethwei there, which is considered the most brutal sport because you can use your headbutt, and it's bare knuckle, and you can use your entire body, elbows, kicks, knees, takedowns. And they've been developing this art for over 2,000 years, It's vicious, but the thing is that they're incredibly kind and polite and very humble people. Like you would meet Burmese people and they bow down to you, but when they go in the ring, they're just animals, which I love that because I kind of relate to that in my real life. I think I try to be as kind as I can outside of the ring, but then I turn into a different Dave in the ring, right? So Lethwei is that, and I was in Asia, and my dream was always to go to Myanmar. But it took a while. I fought in many different organizations, and then I finally got the call to go to Myanmar, and this changed my life. Fought their champion there, and the rest is history. So Lethwei is the art of 9 limbs, because all the limbs of your body, and the ninth is your skull, which is people usually think, oh, you can't put a phrase together because obviously it's a professional sport, so there's a way to train it. I'm all about longevity. Obviously that's why I'm vegan, and I'm all about the least amount of damage outside of the ring, and I keep it for the ring when it happens. So that's it. I think one day I'll show you what it looks like in Myanmar. If that would be a cool experience.
Yeah, man. I've never been to Turkey, so I'm going to fly to Turkey and then connect over there. And it's so basically 9 limbs is because like feet, knees, elbows, hands, and head.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was listening to obviously a few of your podcasts in preparation for this, and man, so the rules are intense, right? Because if you look at like UFC or boxing, like there's points, there's knockouts, and then all of that. But so for Lethwei, if I got it correctly, is there's no like you have to knock the person out. there's no like point system. So you either get knocked out and you get a break if you do get.
No, you actually don't get a point if you get knocked out. That's the fucked up part. And so it's KO to win. They call it the KO only to win. So if you knock out your opponent, well, let's keep it simple for now. If you knock out your opponent and then the last man standing gets the win. If you both survive the 5 rounds, it's a draw. So that's why sometimes, people say there's draws in Lethwei. Well, it's a bloodbath and it's a war, but somehow the guys, they survive. And in MMA, for example, there's always controversial wins. I thought I would have won. It was a split decision. Well, you don't have that in Lethwei. And honestly, that's kind of cool. It's like there's pros and cons. It's cool because you don't get that like, oh man, the judges gave the win to this guy. But, yeah. But the other part is that like I smashed a lot of guys, and then at the end of the fight, they survive, which happens because to fight Lethwei, you have to be tough, and there's a lot of tough motherfuckers. And if you survive 5 rounds, well, it's a draw. Well, if you look at the only way to know, if you look, I think on Wikipedia, it says a draw. But if you look on the video, holy shit, they barely touched Dave, right? Dave wasn't touched. So that's the only like con. Like I feel like fuck. Like I get a draw for smashing the guy, but in MMA and UFC, they get a win, but it was like a fucking tight fight, split decision, and he gets the win. But for the untrained eye, for the casual, he looks at that, oh, he won, right? And so, but I'm happy to respect the tradition, because it's like that rule comes from the honor fights, like the families fighting. So let's say they would fight for the honor of their family for 500 years, 1,000 years ago, and then so if they don't knock out each other, they shake hands and then they go back to their. So that's kind of cool, So I'm perpetuating this tradition. So
yeah, so there's a level of respect even after the fight. And I think one thing to mention as well is that there's no, like UFC, there is padding. There's no padding in Lethwei.
No. Only you put some gauze, like Street Fighter look. It's bare, you have bare hands, no gloves. You have like a little red tape or blue tape on your wrist to show which corner you are. Because in boxing you can know which corner by the colors, but now they just tape your wrist to know which color you are, and you go on. There's nothing else. And the coolest part is for me is that I can use my natural weapon, and that's something, again, I guess I'll tell you, I'm preparing some kind of a mashup of every fucking Avenger movie. There's headbutts in every Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, name it, Walking Dead. It's just everywhere. Somehow, I don't know why, but I guess I know why, because it's fucking cool. All the fighting choreographer, like they want to put a headbutt there, and it's everywhere. Like if you start looking for it. And what's funny is that people still like, they enjoy that in the fantasy land, in the movies, right? But they don't really accept it in real life, because it's illegal in Canada. It's always going to be never going to be legal. It's always going to be illegal in France, for example. It's very like considered barbaric almost, but we enjoyed it in our movies, right? So, well, I'm living a real life movie. What can I say?
Yeah, I saw the video you had on your Instagram. You just cracked a watermelon open with your head. It was just boom. That was instant. Yeah, dude. I was watching some of your videos and how you're training like for your neck, and your head and all those exercises. And I saw a photo of someone had rope on their knuckles. Was that like originally how they wrapped their hands with rope? Or was that like a special event?
Great question. Rope is the neighboring country, Thailand. They had a sport called Muay Baran, which was inspired from Lethwei, because Lethwei is older. If you look at Muay Thai, if people know Muay Thai, it's 250 years old, but Lethwei is like 2000. It's a lot of. I mean, I don't know if the people enjoy all this history, but I'm passionate about it. But like Lethwei, there's a sport in Myanmar. In Thailand, I got inspired, which called Muay Baran, which had ropes, big ropes, and they were doing headbutts. But then the king of Thailand decided, you know what, let's make it more acceptable. So he removed the ropes and removed the headbutts, and that's Muay Thai as we know. That's the whole story. So, but Lethwei remained untouched.
Okay, so is a lot of the fighting styles, because I'm very curious about it. So is a lot of the fighting styles like an evolution of each? It was like Lethwei, and then it was like remove the pad and the headbutt, and then Muay Thai, and then did that translate to like something that we now have like boxing, where it's just hands, pads, and all that?
That's a good question. No, actually, I think because I know we have 2 hands and 2 feet. I think and traveling was not as common back in the day. So it's not like in UK, for example, they went to Burma and they started fighting. I think it's very like a instinct. It's an instinct to fight each other. So I think they were fighting a form of boxing back in the days. Yeah, I think it evolved in the two different branches just way after. Well, who knows? Maybe I have to look into it, but. Maybe a traveler from the UK went to the Himalayas and then went to Nepal and I ended up in Myanmar. But if I would have to bet, I would say it's just two guys wanted to fight each other in the streets of in London, right? And they just want to fight. But there's also old martial art like in Cambodia. It's very hard because they were very bad at keeping records, archives at the time. So it's very hard to know the exact truth.
Yeah. I find it. I did martial arts for like 8 years. I got up to like black belt, second degree, but every time we were sparring and fighting we had pads, right? It was very different style. So I'm still a bit intrigued in the martial arts world. But I remember when we connected over like 10 years ago over that business venture was, I think you were fighting at the time, right?
Yeah. I was already, I think I've already been to Asia at the time, or I was planning to, either or, but yeah.
Yeah. And so what was the evolution that got you to Lethwei? Because, most people when they start off fighting, it's like, oh, martial arts, pads, fighting, sparring. And then you go to like, let's just remove absolutely everything that protects me.
Good question. I always had that in me. Like I wanted to prove, because I was always like the I don't want to say bullied, because everybody's bullied in a way, or everybody's like picked on other kids, because that's what kids are. But I was like I was like the skinny kid, and I was always told by not only the family, it's not only like kids, but like family, like, oh, you're too skinny, you're too small, and you're because I was growing fast, and I guess I had that in me, like I want to show that like I'm strong regardless of the size of my arms, it doesn't matter. Like, and then I was wrestling bigger kids and I was choking them out. I was like, okay, so and I think that gave me a lot of confidence. So I liked fighting. And then fast forward many years after that, I started training and I saw Lethwei in a magazine with my coach. And I'm like, man, I want to do that because, and honestly, that's a great question, because I always was a black sheep. So, and I felt like everybody does the same thing. Like they do boxing, MMA, and maybe Muay Thai. But then like nobody does Lethwei, which is like, if you look, barely any foreigners were going there. There was a few champions from Russia, but like, and they were getting smashed. I'm like, man, I want to be the different guy, like I've been doing in my life. Network marketing is different. Everything is different. So I was like, I want to be different. And I didn't know how I was going to go to Myanmar, to Burma. At the time, it was barely opening to the world, from dictatorship to democracy. So like, it's impossible. So I kept training, got into prison fight, which is something else that people might have
read
heard
about
of.
that.
Go online. There's a documentary on Vice on YouTube. It's pretty cool. Man, I said that's fucking different too. Let's do that too, right? So I messaged them. I ended up going to that maximum security prison, fighting a prisoner, and it happens that the promoter of prison fight was a promoter of Lethwei in neighboring Myanmar. And that's how I got into Myanmar. But like, so to answer your question, I just always wanted to do different shit. And one thing fell into the other. And, but my dream was always to go there. So when I got the opportunity, I'm like, yeah, let's go. But to answer you, I think I kind of don't mind pain. It's a psychology. Everything is trauma in life. You have to, your everything is from childhood. Everything is from your sexual orientation, your sexual preference, your food preference. Everything you like is, and trauma does not have a negative connotation. It can be positive or negative. Like I'm positively traumatized with my Lipton soup from my childhood. So and every time I was getting sick, for example, I'm just like brainstorming. Like I got a Lipton soup, but then like. I enjoy my Lipton soup when I'm 40 years old, for example, right? And I don't think Lipton soup is vegan, so fuck Lipton. But
no, I was gonna say that was before you were vegan. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I just enjoy pain, and I enjoy testing my limits, and honestly proving people that you can be strong regardless of your body shape. And now it extends to my life philosophy. I don't want to say diet, because veganism is not only a diet, but it extends to that. I want to show. Basically continue what I've been doing all my life, to break barriers, to show like, look, you can be tall and slim, skinny, call it skinny if you want, and you can fuck up guys that are 40 pounds heavier than you. Like, because I fight in open weight, and open weight means that there's no weigh in, and I don't weight cut. So I'm like 170 pounds, 170 pounds, 80 kilos. Sorry. So 79 kilograms, so 170 pounds.
How tall are you? You're like my height.
263.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, and I fight guys that are taller than me and 200 by like 95 kilograms. So, and it doesn't matter because if obviously it matters when you have to adapt, you have to be stronger and everything. But so that's about 15, 20 20 kilograms. And fuck it.
Yeah, man, there's so much I want to uncover here. Like, obviously I've again listened to a few of your episode with the Hench Herbivore with Joe Rogan, and you've talked about trauma, which is something I want to dive into. But before I do that, like, what attracted you? Because I know there's a big cultural aspect to Lethwei, and you could have just gone in, done some fights, and like, cool, this is like when you won the championship, you beat the champion, like, cool, I'm out, ciao. And so what got you to stay in that space? And like, because I know you're doing a lot for the community out there. We talked a little bit previously before the episode, but like, what got you to like stay and like love the culture so much?
And that's the first time somebody asked me that. Basically, it ties perfectly what we just spoke about. Basically, I never really felt at home in Canada. Like, I love the people, I love my coaches, I love my family, but I never felt like, I thought the world is bigger than just hometown. And, I always find it funny that most people are born and die at 20-kilometer radius of where they're born, which kind of is mind blowing when the earth is so massive. So first that, but I never felt like, I wanted more. I wanted to explore the world. And also I felt like we kind of lost in Canada and Quebec. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, especially seeing what's happening in the new world order that's implementing right now. I kind of feel like we lost our lumberjack roots, our strong roots, fighting roots. And most people, and like yourself, like most people don't do martial art and they never even care about it. And what happens is that we have a generation of people that can't even tie their shoes, maybe, and themselves. So what happens is that when I landed in Myanmar, I'm not putting down my own people, but like we need to shake the cage a little bit. Like, fuck, what are we becoming right now? Like, some guys are overweight and they don't know how to defend their wives. So if something happens, but what happens is that, like, when I landed in Myanmar, I saw how kind they are, how cool, and that I were like, man, I like you guys, because like we can be a polite smile, which I think if you go to Montreal or Toronto, I don't want to generalize, but if you walk down the street and you smile to somebody, first of all, she's going to look at you funny, or the guy's going to not even smile, who's going to be on his phone. So it's a different culture completely. But if you go to Myanmar and you smile, they're going to very polite. I'm like, wow, that's cool. But they are also the inventor of the most brutal sport in the world, which fucking resonated with me. I'm like, man, so you can be cool, you can be kind, but you can be also strong and mean business. And for me, I found that was so fucking badass. And they were so generous with me. They were very polite, gave me gift. Obviously, maybe I'm biased, because I was in a certain status, because I was a fighter, international fighter coming to their country. Obviously, I was going to be treated well, but we spoke about that recently with my wife. That made me really fall in love with the people and really feel like I belong there. When I never felt like that. I traveled in many countries in the world, and I really never felt that level of love in anywhere. So I started and I guess that sums it up. And then because it changed my life, and financially and everything, I'm like, man, I want to make sure that I draw as many eyes on the country. And what is that going to do? Is going to bring more economic boost, more tourism, more everything. So the more people know about Lethwei, the more people are going to want to go to Myanmar to try the food, try to see the golden pagoda, see the golden, the lakes and everything. So does that answer your question? Like, I wanted to
man.
I guess
I think there's so the level of contrast between the level of respect and being able to like fuck each other up in the ring, but like having respect outside of the ring. And I feel like there's right. And from having traveled a lot as well, like there's a level of connectiveness that you get with certain culture that resonate more with who you are as a person, because everyone's a little bit different. And so I think people don't get that if they never leave their hometown. And then they'll go to like, some people go to Mexico and they're like, damn, I'm vibing and I'm connected with them. This is the place where I need to be.
Yeah.
And some people go to Turkey, Myanmar, and they're like, damn, this is the place that I need to be because it's resonating with who I am at my core. And yeah, no, I 100% agree with you.
That makes so much sense. I think everybody should travel at least once, and maybe not only one place. Because let's say you're not well at home. Let's say a guy from LA is not happy at home. He's angry at the capitalistic system. He doesn't like all that, that big city vibe in New York, for example. But then he travels to Mexico. You're probably gonna fucking love Mexico, right? But he might
a lot of freedom.
yeah, exactly. So maybe he would like better Costa Rica. Maybe he's gonna like better Turkey. Or maybe he's gonna so like try a few different places. But I really get it, because every time I was leaving, I was traveling, I was like, man, I want to live here. And look, I lived right now. And the thing is, I tried many places. I tried Myanmar, Thailand. Lived in Dubai for a year. I tried many contrastal places, but Cyprus and now Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, for example, there's good in everywhere, but I don't want to live in a concrete jungle. For example, Dubai is great, but I want to live in a forest, exotic fruits. But then that's what's
a real jungle, basically. The nature. Yeah, man. And so you become world champion, right, in Lethwei. Because again, like one of the things I mentioned earlier is that you're the first non-Burmese to win in thousands of years of history. Like, how did that go down for you? Because how were people upset? Were people cheering for you? Because again, like I from doing some of the research, like some people go there and then they bring their own traditions and they're just like, cool, I'm just gonna win and just leave after. And so how did that kind of process go for you?
So that's something that was really important for me, is that to embrace the culture, because I didn't want to. I thought it was going to be so disrespectful. But first of all, it didn't even cross my mind. But looking back, I'm like, imagine somebody wins and just takes the belt and never comes back, and just like we fuck fuck your country, fuck everything. For me, that was so. It's not even. I didn't even cross my mind. It was so unheard of. I wanted to.
You can't defend the title too. Like no one can try and win it back if you leave.
Exactly. This person would eventually get stripped from the title, and just they would find it. But the point is, I really felt genuinely like I had to give back. I genuinely loved them. Like I genuinely wanted to. We ended up staying there, buying a condo there, and like we ended up staying there, and then we still have a place there, but right now it's actually under military rule again. I didn't want to talk about this, but it's under military leadership again. So they barely escaped for a couple of years, and now there's a military junta again, so we can't even go. But yeah. It was such a like a moment. Actually, I kind of put it on my shoulders. So like, man, like I want to like become like Ministry of Tourism almost, like so bring as many eyes as possible. I did not even think about just leaving and coming back. No, I wanted to live there. Like it was so cool, so rich, different culture, different everything. Felt like home.
Yeah. Well, I want to pivot back into traumas, because like a lot of the work that I do with people, for me, is helping people through transformational journeys, right? So losing weight, getting fitter, healthier. And like I've shared with you my original goal and why I do it, because of what happened with my fiance, of helping people thrive on plants and disease-proof their bodies. And a lot of the work that shows up when you commit to a transformation, commit to competing, is traumas, old belief systems, old value systems that show up and kind of make you self-sabotage yourself. And so I'm curious how, again, this journey through you becoming world champion and going through that whole process, like a lot of shit must have come up. And, I know that you're someone that does a lot of internal work, right? Because you're to be able to be peaceful and be able to be like, I'm going to mess someone up in the ring, but step out and be a peaceful and in control person. There's a lot of internal work that goes into that. And so how did that process kind of take place for you, where you weren't just like an angry person the whole time because of your previous traumas?
Yeah, I'd like to add, like, I think we cannot be truly happy if you don't know yourself, if you don't do any like introspective. So like either see a psychologist, even if you think you don't need, like I think everybody needs, or find a partner that you can discuss, your deepest issues. Because honestly, if you don't know that, if you ask somebody, do you have any traumas? No, I'm okay. Well, no, obviously not. single person has some, mommy. Like, I don't want to call it like mommy issues or daddy issues or all these, but like just like trauma. Like, how did you feel when this happened? How did that make you feel? How did like, and unless you know that, you're never going to know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, you're never going to be happy. But why be happy? Well, because we have one life to live right now. As we know, we don't know, we know that, and might as well make sure that you're the happiest while you're there. So otherwise, might as well just kill yourself. What's the point of, like, if I decide with my wife, let's live, and let's live a happy life as much as possible. And yeah. So anyway, trauma. Basically, I guess I'm lucky that I was always just like, and I was able to be aggressive when needed, but kind. So I guess there's guys that are not. They're just like, if they have the trauma that I have, they're going to be angry at the world all the time. Not only just when so I was able to differentiate that. I guess that's how I was raised. But the reason, one of my biggest traumas was basically getting kicked out of the house at a young age. Around 18 years old, with no money in the middle of the winter, which was really like a big declic for me, a big moment. Sad, but looking back, I'm extremely kind. Like, again, that's the kind of, when you do introspective, you're able to look at yourself and see, okay, as much as this sucks, I had a bag of almonds and I had a box of Kraft dinner, and that was my food with no money. And like, okay, couch surfing, as much this moment sucked, it didn't feel good, it didn't feel like a baller, like, again, balding is bullshit also, but like, I didn't feel so my point is, now I can look back and actually be thankful for it, and that's true peace. And peace is happiness. So I actually said to my parents, like, thank you for kicking me out, even though I was cursing at you, I was angry, but thank you, because of that, it made me the person I am today, and actually made me want to achieve more, made me want to not again, achieving is, we can go deep, bro. Like, achieving, again, in my book, nothing matters, like all the fugazi, I don't give a fuck about Wikipedia, I don't give a fuck about articles, I don't give a fuck about honestly anything about my wife and my family, and and people that care about me also. So that's it. But my point is, that was a trauma that made me want to become a fighter, like, or maybe put gasoline on that skinny boy that was angry at the world, or that put gasoline on, oh yeah, well, okay, I'm gonna be the fucking best, I'm gonna be world champion in something, and probably it's gonna be something fucking crazy, so you guys are gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong? Yeah, there's a lot of wrong with me. Let's like, I'm fucked up. Let's go. So, man, we can go for hours on that, but I'm able to put that aside as, like, that's the Dave in the ring. I'm honestly okay with not fighting ever in my life again. This is only for fun. It's not even for money. I actually spoke to my wife. She said, if you were not getting paid, would you fight? I'm like, actually, yes. I would be fighting just for fun, for the thrill of my manhood, of like feeling that pain and all these things. That's the best thing. If you would you be doing that podcast if it was, money was not an issue? Probably, because you enjoy learning, you enjoy talking. And I think everybody at home listening to this, like, would you do your job? Would you do this or whatever you love to do without getting paid? If the answer is no, try to slowly put that aside, and try to build up the other thing that you would do for free, and that's the best advice I can do. But man, you can give me some direction here. So basically, we spoke about trauma.
Trauma. So, well, actually, where I would like to bring this is, you have these traumatic experiences that maybe kind of fueled some anger that you had, and then you put it towards fighting, and then there's so many pathways, because I obviously want to talk about the fact that you're vegan, but the aspect of veganism is there's a big compassionate component to it, and so being able to manage that anger, utilize it in the ring, but be able to step out and have this level of compassion, respect for others and for animals. How did, like, well, let's start with, how long ago did you go vegan, and kind of what is that transition, and why did you do it in the first place? Because in terms of like manlyhood, that takes it at first.
Yeah, good point. No, it is an odd combination, right? It is an odd combination, especially it's not boxing, it's not MMA, it's like with headbutts and bare knuckle. So it is an odd combination. But I have a very easy explanation for this. But yeah, I became vegan about, I think, a year and a half ago, while I was living in Cyprus. And actually, a guy from Copenhagen, after I gave a seminar in Denmark, is like, man, you should watch. It was just Game Changers just came out. He's like, you should watch this. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man. Like, I cut everything for now. Like, I have even stronger erection. I'm like, what? Like
that was the number one thing.
Yeah, not that I needed it, but I was like, it looks positive, right? So let's look it up. So we watch it, and we open mine. And just prior to that, my wife was always talking about like vegetarianism, like try to cut, but I was always like saying, no, you need meat, So I kind of pushed her away from that. But we were kind of ready at that point. And I think it comes down to being emotionally ready and just ready in the state of your life. You can present something to somebody at a young age, he's going to say no, but then he's going to turn vegan at 25 years old. So we were ready. We watched it. I think it's hard to be vegan if you don't do introspection. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Some people, there's exceptions, but you need to be at a level of like, okay, I'm there in my life. I'm able to be compassionate. I'm able to be conscious. It's consciousness, basically. I'm able to put myself in the shoes of an animal, of an innocent person, and not only an animal, humans as well, right? So we watched it, and it was purely for selfish reasons at first, brother. Like because I think there's no such thing as, and that's another point, I don't think there's anything as selfless acts. I think there's always a bit of selfishness in everything. Because even doing something selfless makes you feel good. So even without trying, you're getting something out of it. So that's philosophical. But we said, okay, we're going to go plant-based. I think we said vegan, but like for me, vegan is not the diet. It's more than that. So we said we're going to go vegan in our diet, but we were obviously like not fully aware of how bad it was in the animal industry. So the Plant Game Changers was only highlighting stuff about our health, about our heart, about heme iron, about our plaque, cholesterol. So I really felt compelled by it, and push my research. Guys, don't just look at the documentary. Also look the sources and everything. Everything was flawless. So and as we began, I started looking at Earthlings, and then started looking at people. If you don't know Earthling, it's with Joaquin Phoenix. It's free on YouTube. And then I'm like, okay, holy shit. And then I looked at What the Health. And again, I was already plant-based. It was just confirmed after What the Health. I realized, and I knew already that I was already angry at the world, at the system.
I was going to say, that's a perfect documentary for that.
Right? It was like, fuck, man, we're getting fucked in the ass by big corps, by big food corps, especially, which is tied with big pharma. They're selling the meds. They're selling the big pharma is selling the meds to big food corps for the animals and for the crops. And then it's a big circle. And then on What the Hell, they even like got a hidden camera saying to a doctor, yeah, man, we cannot propose plant-based because the heart surgeries are going to decline, and he's going to lose money. What? I thought you were a doctor to help people get healthy. No, it's about not fixing them. It's not about, it's about healing them. I don't know what other way around. Like, is it about like healing them or just fixing?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, and maybe I can talk about the compassion, how it fell through after that. But,
yeah. That was your initial transition, was watching Game Changers. I've had the opportunity to kind of hang out with some of the cast of the Game Changers, just amazing people, and it had such a big impact. A lot of members that come to our program are like, I watched Game Changers and I went plant-based, and now like I'm ready for this.
The most viewed in the world, I think, with Game Cameron.
It's been huge. And what have you found that has enhanced your level of compassion once you went plant-based? Because then you started learning all these other aspects of like the meat industry.
Yeah, definitely. It was. I think if there's no good way to go vegan, right? Like anyway, some people start right away with the animals. I guess I don't know. I'll share with you my philosophy is that well-being is number one, right? For example, my well-being, my wife, my family, and even just humankind well-being is at first. I'm sure there's some people that might disagree with that, but let me share with you. Let's say there's a volcano that erupts and or covers the earth, the sun rays, and nothing grows. Like I said, I think with the Hans Scherber, it would break my heart, but I would have to survive on other things. I would have to potentially hunt, which completely would crush me. Maybe I would go into depression. Who knows? But I'm just saying, like on a philosophical thing, number one is survival.
Mhm.
But we're not in most people. That's why I'm not condemning people, like, for example, on small islands that are fishing right now. They
Or
don't
like
have
Alaska, or
exactly. That's just to present my point. I'm not condemning them because they're not in a position for. They don't have the vegan restaurant. They don't have the vegan store. They don't have all the options, and they don't have all the. I don't know. So, and that's not our fault. That's the fault of the big pharmas and the big corps over the years. Honestly, I think the world can be vegan right now if all that money would have been injected for in the last 100 years. Probably would have been able to be fully vegan everywhere in the world. But right now we're fighting against the system. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just there was so much money subsidizing, invested in everything, milk industry, dairy industry. So they're keeping them alive basically. But so my point is, so that's the thing. So survival is number one. I think most people actually can survive on plants. Not most. No, I think everybody can survive on plants. Even the people on the island, they're just not educated yet on the subject. They can probably adapt on crops.
Yeah.
It's a big issue. But my point is, we could. I was going with this.
Right. Is
about
your philosophy of, like, if you're put in a survival state, like family and well-being is going to be the first one of, like, why you went vegan, and there's your second one.
Yeah. So that I think I lost my train of thought, but because my head is always buzzing, not because of the headbutts, but because of I'm a hyperactive.
I'm sure that's an argument that you get often, but I understand you're like a really high energy like me, and you have like so many thoughts, like, oh damn, I want to say this, and So no, it's all good. So you mentioned, I was asking, like, level of compassion, right? If like it enhanced your level of compassion once you went plant-based.
Yeah, I obviously think I think it did, and definitely. First of all, the philosophy is basically reduce as much as practically possible your cruelty around you. That's veganism. So it's not a diet. It's really about this. And I think it's going to come back to me later as we talk. But basically, yes. The answer is, first of all, was for selfish reasons, like my health.
Yeah.
Yes, it was my health, and then we like, oh my god, this is insane. And I really I never had animals, domestic animal, because I was not against it. Now I'm against it, but I never had I was never presented with the opportunity, and I never cared about it. Actually, I was and looking back, I was like, I probably cared more about animals than people that have animals at the time, because they just wanted to look cool with a breeded domestic cat, or like, it's foolish. It's full of shit. They don't love animals. These guys, they love dogs, and they love their pet because they're engaged in speciesism, and they love a certain kind of animal. So I just generally was just neutral about them. I was never compelled. But yeah, so looking now, I have a deep love for I kind of unlocked. I think it just unlocked the deep love for humanity, and deep love for not only humans, but like, it's not only animals but humans. Like, and I really believe that veganism is the first step to human bettering, because like again, I'm really compelled by the quote from Leo Tolstoy. He's a Russian philosopher, and he said, actually, I think he was not even vegan, but he was a vegetarian. But still, it's great what he said. He said, as long as there's going to be slaughterhouses, there's going to be battlefields. Meaning, the way I interpret it is that as long as we're going to mistreat and hurt and enslave and breed and kidnap animals, we're going to not be able to get along with each other. So if we're not able to be kind with innocent sentient animals, how the fuck are we going to be able to be kind to each other? So first step is so yeah, obviously it's about the animals, but then we need to evolve from that. We need to first be vegan and then evolve and implement veganism in every spheres of life, which again, I don't understand how people are against the word. I think it's just the word. They don't even know what it is. Oh, I don't like it. Why? Because it literally translates to, I would like to reduce my cruelty around me in as many spheres of my life, phones or any of my clothes. I'd like to reduce it as much as practically possible. I don't know where this shirt has been created, but when I have time, I'm gonna look into it. And if it's done in a non-sustainable way, which it probably is, well, I'm gonna try to reduce it and probably avoid it. So same for leather. But it's such a noble thing to do. So how can you literally, if you're against the philosophical idea of veganism, I think you're a shitty person.
It definitely, like, Yeah, it definitely, like, I found that quite often that it definitely unlocks a new level of compassion and awareness for the things that are around you. Because once you realize that, obviously it unlocks a level of compassion and level of awareness of like, oh, animals had to suffer and be killed for this, but there's a whole industry that can justify that. And then you're like, what else around me is messed up like that? And then you start looking at other industry and you're like, damn, the world's messed up. How am I living in this, right? How
Exactly. Well said. The world is the government is messed up. The fish industry, they think, oh, we're only killing fish. No, that's already fucking disgusting. But we're killing all the bycatches that, because somehow they care more about dolphin than tuna.
yeah.
Yeah, we're killing
Seaspiracy, did you see that?
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, hate it, but love it. They kill dolphins, they kill turtles, and it also hurts humans. So if you're a human and you are conscious about this pain being created by your actions and your vote, because your money is a vote, if you're conscious that people are getting shot in the fucking middle of the ocean because of you like to have a small tuna sandwich, and you're okay with that and you continue buying this, well, again, you're a shitty person,
Yeah, it's definitely like, again, like you mentioned, like veganism, when people hear that, they don't necessarily know what it is, but there's like a negative connotation to it because like years of marketing against it, right? And one of the, I would say, like marketing aspects of veganism is like when men go vegan, it's like it's not manly to not eat meat, right? And I know that you shared with me, like you used to make fun of vegans and like you told your wife, like, no, we need to eat meat. And so what was that transition like for you in a field where like basically fighting is probably the most manliest thing that you can do, right? That you can think of. And so how was that transition in that space with like people knowing that you were vegan?
I never thought about it that way because I guess I was lucky in a way by the fact that I was fighting. I knew that nobody had nothing to say. They could say shit.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
wouldn't say
so
shit.
So what are you gonna say? Well, cool, let's spar if you don't. But again, I don't care. But I guess maybe it would be harder for somebody in the middle of society, right? Maybe that's having like a normal job, and the only kind of little manhood that they have is locking the door at night, right? So
Yeah.
imagine like you close the door at night. That's your manhood. You protect the house. I lock the door at night. So maybe if you go back to the office and you don't have much, and then you cut meat, maybe be psychology because of all the years of indoctrination and the McDonald's double quarter pound that falls and that's a man meal, all these things. I can see it could be harder. I didn't have to worry about this. And honestly, I think also comes down to not giving a fuck what people think,
Mm-hmm.
like the way the society is wired is that they need us. When I say they, I'm talking about maybe the oligarchs, the people that are designing society, people that were very wealthy people. They need us to care. Why? Because if you care, then you're going to be even more involved in the capitalistic system. You're going to be buying big cars because you're going to want to flash for who? For people that don't even know you, that don't even care about you, that we're probably going to be happy to see you dollars. So you buy shit that you don't need for people that you don't want, that you don't care. So I didn't care a fuck what people think. And honestly, that's a great question, bro. It made me think. I probably wanted to piss them off too and to provoke them because of my traumas. I wanted to provoke them also. Oh yeah, let's be different again, and also let's provoke them again. Let's argue because let's go.
Yeah.
So that's probably another good point. Like I was looking forward to shocking people because my sport shocks people. My career, my everything, my marriage, getting married in the middle of Burma with a traditional outfit, like what? You don't do that. You need to do it in a chapel in white, and so fuck you're normal. Fuck normal. So what? And the thing is, I actually have a motto. That's another good point. I had a motto in my life is everything that the masses do is most likely wrong. And I probably do the opposite. Everybody has unhappy in relationship and they all cheat and they all eat meat and they all drink milk and they all have a 9 to 5. And not that the 9 to 5 is bad, but like at least at least question if everybody's doing it. Do you like their life? No. So maybe find a different way to do it. So I was like, I'm like, fuck, everybody eats meat. And I want to do the opposite because they're all unhealthy. Everybody's sick. Everybody's on pills. Everybody's on Viagra. My friends are on Cialis. My friends are on fucking Tylenol. They have headaches all the time. Like, so there must be something wrong in this system right now. So yeah, let's shock people. I never, that's the thing. Most people in society, they're and that goes deep to I think veganism is tied with everything, like in the schooling system. We're told to be obedient. We're told to be smart, kind, and don't talk. You have to raise your hand if you have a question with a professor at school, right? Mm-hmm. So people avoid conflict. People have a hard time with conflicts, and they cannot like be okay arguing. If they argue, it's like, oh my god, they have a panic attack. Sorry, I know a lot of people that avoid conflict, but in order to, and that's why my wife said the other day, is like, honestly, being vegan in your family, in a meat eating omnivorous family, right? And you're the only one, you're honestly, you have to have a little bit of a leader mentality. Actually, a lot. You have to, in order to be a vegan, you have to be a leader right now. And in the day and age, maybe not in 25 years when a lot of people are going to be vegan, but right now, you're going to be judged by your friends. You're going to be judged by your family. You're going to be judged by everybody. And people don't understand. You're making jokes. You have to be strong, man.
Yeah, it's definitely coming from a farming background. I was the first one. I was like, I'm just gonna eat tofu. It's like, why would you eat tofu? We have chicken that we just killed in the backyard. I was like, I'm just gonna stay vegan.
Nobody questions why. Why do you need chicken? Why do you need chicken? Why do you need to kill an animal to eat?
Yeah, it's because it's a standard, right? And I like what you shared, right? There's this quote: "It's better to ask for forgiveness and permission." And so to be bold and live your life the way that you want to.
Short. And that's what all the older people say when they're on their deathbeds. Like, man, I wish I didn't care what people think. Well, fucking don't care right now, man. Like, it's now. You heard it here on the Fit Vegan podcast. Don't fucking care about people, because when you're gonna be sick, who's gonna come on your hospital bed? Not a lot of people. Not a lot of. I can tell you, it's not a lot of people. So why would you want to impress them? When I used to want to have a Rolls Royce, and now that I can have, I don't even want it, because I did that introspective. I'm like, why do I want it? Did somebody put that thought in my head? Was publicity put a thought in my head? Does Instagram and celebrities put a thought in my head? I don't really want it. I want to be accepted. Why do I need to be accepted? That's all these questions. Why do I need to be accepted by people? Is it going to be, well, actually I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't give a fuck. So, man, I just need a fucking car that brings me to point. And what's even more baller is having a lot of money in your bank account.
And a shitty car. It's the best.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Like, I was a bank manager actually before. So people that think I'm just a headbutt fighter, I was a bank manager in Quebec, a mortgage developer basically. And I know most people are fucking in debt, especially now after a year of lockdown. It's even worse. It's always better to go undercover, man, under the radar, because people are fucking getting broke on shit they don't need to impress strangers.
There's a level of confidence that comes with that, of like absolutely. Knowing that you're good but not having to show it.
That's so powerful, man. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's confidence. And it's actually the opposite for me. It's funny. I found that it's a lack. It's unhappiness. Like, I don't want to name names, but like pro boxers that have a lot of money, comes from a ghetto. They have this void they have to patch. Like, look, I'm not poor anymore, or I'm not happy in my life. I have to show off. I have to but I would not trade life with them, first of all, because obviously I'm happy with my financial life, but even, I would like to compel people that are looking at that, people that have, or maybe right now they're not in good position. You don't want to switch life with them, I'm telling you. And I love what Gary Vee says, like, it's not the thing of like, I'd rather cry in my Ferrari than cry in my Lada or a Civic. It's not true. Trust me, you want to kill yourself even more in a nice car. I've drove all the cars you can think of. You're not happier with a car. This is fucking bullshit. But they want you to care about this. They want you to eat meat. They want you to they want you to be part of that system in order to be part of their system, so they can control you. You can spend all your money, live all your life for them, and then die
and be sick.
And be sick.
Yeah,
and you know about that, right? With all the things that your fiance had to take, and it was probably proposed to take, all that of treatments, expensive treatments.
Yeah,
it's a big business.
Yeah, so I definitely relate to what you shared in that. Once you're on your deathbed, like I was able to see the only thing that mattered and the only thing that were important, and it was just time was the only thing that mattered. Time and love, right? Didn't care about the house, the money, anything else. It was just time and love. You just want more of it, And so, yeah, man, I definitely agree with you on that. And Yeah. I want to, I don't want to bring the tone down necessarily, but I do want to ask you like some of the typical like vegan questions that people might get, because a lot of people listening want to transition to veganism, or some of them are already vegan. And I'm always curious to hear how people fuel themselves, because I've had the opportunity to, you know, interview like bodybuilders, Ironmans, people in different space. And so I'm very curious as to kind of what your day of eating looks like, and if protein is a big stressor for you, because I just get it so often.
I'm happy you talk about this. I'm gonna drop a bomb. Probably dropped it a couple of times yourself, but first of all, people watching this, they're asking questions, or they're open-minded. They cut off meat. Good for you guys. I want to applaud you. I want to raise my hat to you, because it takes a lot of, after all we spoke about me and Lucky, like basically it takes a lot of maturity to accept that we've been lied to all our life. That's the first thing. It takes a lot of like lack of ego. Like you have to put down everything, your barriers, to like, fuck, I've been lied to. You know, a lot of people are going to defend this their entire life, because they cannot accept the fact that they drank milk all their life, and they eat all the filet mignon all their life, but it was actually not healthy for them, and they basically did something wrong. They don't want to admit that, so they're going to keep it, and they're gonna bring it to their fucking grave. It takes a lot of maturity to accept that. Like I was actually pissed on myself. I was like, how was I so dumb to not realize the system was so rigged against me, and so rigged to make me a fucking sheep? You know, when I say sheep, it is about like, honestly, I think eating meat is sheep. If you're not in the farm, if you're not, I think me being born in a society, in a, you know, very modern society, but I didn't know better. I was young. I have to live my life. I have to go to school. It's hard to get out. So I think 30 years old on my own, alone, and my wife, I mean, like alone in our circle, takes a lot of open-mindedness. But basically, I want to applaud everybody that are on the verge, and they're like, shit, man, we're being lied to here. Like, you know, there's billions of dollars being injected in publicities, and the conflict of interest. Follow the money trail, and it's always going to go there. Look at the studies. You know, the milk causes has a link to prostate cancer, has a link to breast cancer. All these fucking shit that are hiding from us because they want to keep. Because I said in one interview that got viral on Reddit, I said, you know, they want to keep us just a little bit sick. There's no money in healthy people. There's no money in being healthy like me and you, Lucky. And there's no, because we don't take pills, we don't take all these treatments. And there's no money in dead people. Once they're dead, that's it. It's not a dead customer is not a good customer. They want people that just in between. So you need your hyper blood, you know, your hyper blood tension. You need to have your blood diluter. You need to have your Tylenol once in a while. You need your Advil. You need your potentially Viagra when you're in your older days. All these things is a money making machine. And I'm going to go even further. We're expecting a baby soon, by the way.
Nice. So congrats, man.
And we're learning the industry of the medical industry, like the cesarean, a lot of things around it. Like cesareans obviously are great for when it's needed, but a lot of times right now they're pushed. There's money in there. There's meds that are to induce the childbirth that's also not needed. Some, you know, doctors are pushing for that sometimes, and they're like, maybe we can induce it. And the girl's like, why? Well, because otherwise you're going to spend the whole day here. Well, that's fine. You know, like, because otherwise what happens if you say yes, and actually she gave birth the next day naturally, right? But like, you don't want to spend, they're just impatient. So if you take the drug, right, they sign a big, whoever work, for example, in Canada, we don't pay for these drugs, but our tax, their government is going to send a nice little check to Big Pharma at the end of the month for everybody that got induced, everybody that, you know what I mean? Like there's money in all these things. So, yeah. So, and that brings me also to protein. We also, I think there was a big conspiracy by the meat industry, because what happens if they probably over the years with sponsored articles and sponsored stuff, they made us think that we need a lot of protein, and protein is equal to health and manhood. And actually a low protein diet is if you look at the blue zones in the world, it's low protein diet. I don't know if you read that. So actually, so that's also keep us sick. That's first off the back, to keep us sicker and less, and you know, not as healthy. But mostly, if you think that if you associate protein with meat, what are you going to do? You're going to eat more meat. If you think that you need a lot of protein, what's the first thing is you're going to eat more meat. So it happened gradually over the years. And I even heard, probably you yourself when you were bodybuilding, you need, I think, 1.5 grams of protein by body.
Pound of body.
how is that? And what do you get your protein at the time? Meat, right? Or shake.
Yeah.
Big. So the way I look at it, at first, a year and a half ago, when I turned vegan, I actually was still in that train of thought. I said to my wife, we need 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, and that was like two chickpeas, 2 cans of chickpeas every day, or that's a lot of fucking chickpeas, you know.
Yeah.
So
A lot of fiber, man.
a lot of fiber, yeah. But it didn't work because I'm not a big eater at first, so we didn't do it, and I was fine. So just all this big story to tell you guys and people watching this, I actually don't count protein at all. I don't count protein at all. I don't, and I train every day. I do weights every day. I'm obviously not gaining weight because that's not my goal. Obviously, if you want to put on a lot of weight, maybe you're gonna need to because you need protein to build weight. But I'm maintaining a healthy, strong, and very effective muscle fibers for my fight. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm just eating fruits, rice, and beans, a lot of beans, the lentils, all these things. But I actually just eat on my own, what I feel like eating, and so I'm a bad example of I'm supposed to start a more strict diet with jacked vegans and a friend of mine, but I
Julian.
yeah, exactly, great guy, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you're the same as me. Like I don't count it as much. I'm sure some people need to in order to maintain a certain weight potentially, but like if you ask me about me, my wife is the best cook for me, and she does meals for me I eat twice a day. I do intermittent fasting without even trying. Like I wake up, I eat my first meal at 1 p.m. So I don't know, like I'm fasting without even trying, which is also linked to longevity, linked to health.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so you're basically primarily focusing on whole foods throughout the day, right? I don't know. I don't know what the vegan alternative situation is in Turkey, but
That's the beauty.
Okay.
So that was the reason why we wanted to go to Florida. Potentially, let's move to Florida because we were like craving a good Beyond Burger or something like that, and we decided it doesn't make sense to go to Florida just for a Beyond Burger, right? Like and honestly, we're like, okay, if we move there, how often we're going to eat transformed, processed vegan? And I think, by the way, I think it helped us dramatically. Like when we turned vegan, we ate a lot of, can I call it processed or transformed vegan stuff, like imitation meat, really like a lot, which helped us at the beginning. But man, like how often, if we move to Florida, how many times we're going to eat at these like KFC or all these places, not a lot. After a while, we're going to be annoyed and we're going to stop and we're going to go back to whole foods. So right now we only eat whole food.
Yeah, it's nice to not necessarily have those options there because it is more convenient in certain situations, which from time to time is not bad, but a lot of people here are counting on it, right? So like it's a great transitional tool. I was interviewing, who Robert Cheek is from Vegan Bodybuilding. So he's like the godfather of bodybuilding. He's been vegan for like 25 plus years. And he just wrote the book, The Plant-Based Athlete, actually.
Good for him.
So he works with Beyond Meat closely, and they're saying like, we're not in the space for vegans. We're in a space to help people reduce their meat consumption and have an alternative. And so it's a great transition tool. It's great to like lower the amount of meat that people are eating. It's just some people rely on it daily as like a source of protein. And we need to like get rid of that mentality of like, I need this much protein to survive.
I agree.
Yeah. And what has been some of the like biggest changes that you've noticed? Because it's been a year and a half. I'm sure you've noticed some like quite a few different changes from you going plant-based. Because were you eating a ton of meat before?
No, actually, no, not that much. I was actually not a big eater ever. Two meals a day. I was like doing seafood, chicken, like Buddha bowls, something like that. Like not big, but obviously I was. And I wish I didn't, but it's part of the journey, right? And but what's the big change on my body? I actually feel like it started to kick right now. I am the best shape I ever felt. Like I feel like I have more cardio than ever. I used at the beginning, I think it was not as prominent. Now it's stronger. I feel like I can go run longer. I can do. and maybe it's in my head, but maybe it's because of like the lack of fatty deposits in my arteries, which maybe the blood flows better, because that's what plant-based food does not do, deposit in your arteries. Only animal products do. So maybe it took a year for my accumulation to my arteries to unclog or to be cleaner. I feel great. And apart from that, I would say I think it's a positive thing. Like, apart from cardio, enhanced cardio, and always slept pretty good. I never had a bad skin. Apart from that, like, no difference. So why would I be cruel to animals? Why would I why would I do all these things if and why would I like be bad on my health with eating all these meals if I can go plant-based? So I can be healthier and not be cruel. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of people think also that it's going to be like a magical solution to like when they go plant-based. Like if they're eating like KFC every day, drinking beer every day, then it will be a major shift. But if you're already a healthy person, to be able to even sustain your level of health and fitness is going to be massive, right? Also,
like if they never train and they eat like shit, and then they start go plant-based and they start training with you, like you're obviously going to see a massive difference.
Right, huge difference. So one thing, I also want to be respectful of your time. Do you still have a little bit more time? Because there's one, because before we started the podcast, you talked about a project that you had in terms of like basically building like basically a city. Do you mind kind of sharing that? Because I think people would love to hear that.
Yeah. I'm extremely passionate about this right now. It consumes me. So I guess I'll share it with you and your people in exclusivity, because I don't talk about it too much. I'm building it every day. I want to build like a tribe, the vegan tribe, and there's obviously you're going to be our guest of honor. You can come, and basically we're anybody watching this also, we're going to be able to. I want to have a sanctuary, because I really feel like I feel now like, again, a big transformation from being vegan for my health to now wanting to build 100 animals, hopefully thousands of animals, sanctuary because I feel like we're, anyway, the reason, like, it's because they're so mistreated. I want to save as much as I can. I want to take as much as we can. And I want to be again, I've shared with you during the podcast how much as I'm against the system. I want to be disconnected to the electricity. I want to create my own electricity with solar panels. I want to have and not only for my house, but like I'm talking like to generate like enough electricity for a small village, like hundreds of houses, and having big greenhouses, few greenhouses to sustain the food for a big amount of people. So that, I think, it's going to come in phases. Phase one, build the sanctuary, my house, and then rapidly people are going to join in. Volunteers are going to want to come in and live on the spot of the tribe to take care of the animals, and then it's gonna be a snowball effect. But the plan is to basically build this as soon as possible, to give people a place to escape, the capitalistic system, the big cities. I actually believe right now we're seeing a centralization of powers in the world government, centralization of everything. Well, I want to decentralize. I want to go away, and I'm okay not traveling again. I'm okay, and I'm okay just living in peace on my land, on a big land. I want to buy, like, I'm talking about hundreds of acres. I want something like massive, and basically the focal point of this tribe is going to be not only the animals, but like veganism as a whole. Like, just basically, let's be kind to each other. Let's we don't need the Gucci bag on that compound. You don't need a Hermes bag or a Rolls Royce on that tribe complex. You just need to be yourself. You dress how you want. That's the beauty. So I don't know if you understand. I can
no, I can picture. You're basically building the crypto of villages, decentralized.
Yeah. also I want to have the greenhouse, and we're not going to do pesticides. So it's all going to be organic, and as much as we can not wash the roots, so we can have natural B12 also. I don't want to be like living in an over asepticized society, like over clean society. So like let your immune system work, and but I understand that living there, potentially some people are going to join along the years. Maybe this we're fast forward 5 years, maybe people are gonna be born there and die there, like,
Yeah.
but it's way more positive than potentially living unhappily and working a job you don't like in a
Concrete jungle.
in the concrete jungle, exactly. But I'm obviously going to do podcasts, so we're going to be able to, be connected to the world, do a lot of, basically doing anything virtual there, and I want to have a small hotel there too. So maybe people can come and see a glimpse of what is it like to live on the tribe, and they take care, they see the animals, zootherapy, and then they might want to say, you know what, I'd like to join in. So what do I have to do to join in? Well, actually nothing. We have a house for you. Please just take care of the carrots every and the greenhouse with everybody, and just basically be a member of the community. So so basically it's gonna be like, because I'm taking care of everything. I'm taking care of the land. I'm taking care of everything. So hopefully we're gonna have like-minded people that are gonna want to live a peaceful life, retire in a peaceful life. And I always a big promote, probably yourself too. I always never liked the idea of retiring at 55 years old. So I was happy to be able to retire with my work, my fighting. Now I just want to do stuff that fucking excites me, and this fucking excites me. So when it's open, you'll be my guest.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I was gonna say, like, I need to come and visit that. And, depending on the state of the world and how things go over the next few months, I might just come to Turkey and come and visit you.
It's a beautiful place. Olive, like I want to build. That's thing. There's olive trees. There's any fruit, dates, figs, olive. Everything grows here. Probably like same thing as California or Miami. But the point is, we basically can create our own olive oil, create everything. So it's gonna be like, instead of like, if I can put a last thought on people's head, like instead of working like a 9 to 5, for example. Well, what if your day was, well, I grinded some olive to grade olive oil, and I took care of a couple piglets today. She like, that's the kind of life I want to live. Like something like very stress free, as like less amount of fucking problems. Like, like fuck taxes, fuck all these things. Like, just live. Can I eat and then we do a big meal at night. And something I love, I don't know if you saw Down to Earth with Zac Efron. I don't know if you saw it.
I did, yeah.
One episode I love is the Costa Rica episode, and I think there's a lot of cool spot they saw on there, which I love. The big meal at the end of the day, they had like coconuts, all the fruits. That's basically what we want to create here in Turkey.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I'm excited for you to start building that and to come and visit. And so that's something that's going to be coming in the next few years. And so is there any projects that you're currently working on that we can send people to? Like, where can people find more information about what you're doing and what's next for you?
Well, right now, honestly, there's everything I'm doing is just planification, with the governments and all these things. So it's there's nothing apart from like we started the page on a while ago on Instagram. It's V Tribe, but apart from that, right now I just have to hold on tight and wait for the news. But I've seen people, don't follow me. I'm weird. Don't follow me. I'm fucked up. It's too much trouble. Just don't. Just give me.
Well, just in case, I'll put all your links down below in case people are curious.
Don't do it, man.
You're the first person I hear say that. I respect that. Just breaking watermelons with your head, just doing shit like that. Yeah. Good. Well, man, Dave, thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on the podcast. Thank you for just being so open and authentic and sharing with everyone. I know there's tons of value in there for people. I know people are going to really resonate with it. And so, yeah, man, thank you very much for jumping on the podcast.
It's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. And everybody, Luckie is a fucking great guy, great coach, and I'm really proud of the brand you built and the family you built. Like Fit Vegan is fucking cool, and I wish you a long life, and hopefully we'll meet in Turkey.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.